At the start of the movie, we watch a man named Vic Van Allen returning home after riding his bike through the woods while taking his pants down. He notices his wife, Melinda, looking at him. Melinda walks upstairs without saying anything. The couple has a daughter named Trixie and lives in a little town in Louisiana. Melinda is preparing for a party. Vic assists her in putting on a shoe, and Melinda expresses her feelings for him. The two then leave for the party. At a party, they run into some of their friends and have a pleasant conversation. Melinda then leaves to meet a friend named Joel Dash. She then drags him outside and walks near a pool, where she begins kissing him. Joel turns out to be Melinda's lover, and Vic stands outside, watching them kiss. Melinda notices Vic observing them but does not stop, and Joel's constant kissing. One of Vic's friends sees Melinda and Joel together and worries to Vic that Melinda may not love him as much as he loves her, but Vic simply states that it is unimportant to him. Melinda subsequently becomes inebriated and begins dancing on top of a piano. She then begins to sing while playing the piano, despite the fact that she is openly cheating on him. Vic smiles at Melinda, as if he's fine with it. Later, Joel approaches Vic to talk. Joel thanks Vic for allowing him to see Melinda. Vic casually inquires of Joel about the odd disappearance of a man named Martin McCree, who was also one of Melinda's boyfriends. Vic then confesses to killing Martin with a hammer. Joel believes Vic is joking, but Vic assures him that he is not. Joel then departs from the party as he was headed for home. Melinda asks Vic about what he said to Joel, but Vic denies it. At home, Vic assists Melinda in taking her clothes off, and Melinda tells him she likes Joel because he accepts her for who she is. It is then revealed that Vic and Melinda have made an agreement under which Melinda can date any man she wants because there is no love in their marriage anymore. Vic allows her to date whomever she wants as long as she does not leave him and Trixie. Vic has agreed to her requests in order to avoid the chaos of divorce. Vic returns to his car after dropping Trixie off at school the next morning. One of his friends asks him about what he said to Joel. Vic responds that it was nothing more than a prank. The joke immediately spreads throughout the community, and everyone keeps asking Vic if he truly committed the crime. But Vic tells them all the same thing: it was all a joke. Melinda confronts Vic angrily at home for threatening her partner. Vic apologizes and promises that it will not happen again. Melinda, on the other hand, wants Vic to apologize to Joel and has invited him over for dinner when Joel arrives. Victory as well. Joel is still a little scared of Vic, but he remains quiet over dinner. Joel reveals that he intends to relocate over the weekend. Melinda then instructs Vic to put Trixie to bed so she can spend time alone with Joel. When Melinda goes to the bathroom later, Vic approaches Joel and informs him that he did indeed murder Martin. Vic then calls Uber and orders Joel to leave immediately, implying that if he does not, he would suffer the same fate as Martin. Van Allen is attending a party one day and meets a couple named Dawn and Kelly Wilson. Later, Vic dances with Kelly, and Melinda asks him if he found Kelly attractive while watching them on their way home. Vic confirms that he did. Kelly appears to be envious of this because she believes Kelly is more attractive than her. When the two return home, they meet passionately since they were both turned on one day at Trixie's soccer game. Vic receives a call from his bank regarding a payment made by Melinda to Charlie Delisle, a piano teacher. Vic hunts Charlie down and follows him to a live performance. Vic then discovers that Melinda is having an affair with Charlie behind his back. Later that night, Vic returns home and discovers Martin's body in the woods. When Melinda returns home, he is said to have been shot dead. Vic informs her about Martin. Melinda is devastated by this news and retreats to her room as the days pass. Melinda begins to spend more time with Charlie, and the two become closer. When Melinda arrives home after spending the night with Charlie, Vic is aware of this and has run out of patience. Vic confronts Melinda aggressively and orders her to stop seeing Charlie, but Melinda refuses, claiming that Charlie makes her feel loved in a way that Vic cannot. Vic claims to love Melinda, but it's not the kind of love Melinda desires. Vic and Melinda attend a pool party with their friends one day, to which Charlie is later invited. Vic is introduced to Charlie as her piano teacher by Melinda. Vic maintains his cool by pretending he is unaware of their affair. Later that night, Vic searches for Melinda, who has been missing for several hours. Vic approaches the pool and discovers Melinda having fun with Charlie. Vic is envious of how close the two are becoming. Then it starts to rain, and everyone runs inside except Vic and Charlie. Vic steps in and joins the others later. Melinda searches the area for Charlie but cannot locate him. When she glances out the window, she sees Charlie floating face down in the pool. All of the men drag him out of the water and try to revive him, but Dawn accidentally dropped Charlie's body, knocking his head against the pool's edge. They quickly understand Charlie is no longer alive. When the detectives arrive, they interrogate all of the partygoers. Vic is accused of drowning Charlie outright by Melinda. Vic, however, denies it. Vic is then confronted in private with Melinda's charges. Vic claims Charlie was inebriated and hanging to the deep end of the pool. The investigators are satisfied with him and do not ask him anymore. Melinda is still convinced that Vic murdered Charlie. Vic then asks her if she is afraid of Vic knowing he killed Charlie. Melinda says that she isn't, since she is the thing Vic murdered one day while riding his bike home. Vic discovers that he is being followed by a car. Later, after Vic has dropped Trixie off at school, Kelly approaches Vic and informs him that Don suspects Vic of murdering Charlie. Furthermore, Don and Melinda are spending a lot of time together and developing bizarre notions. Vic assures Kelly that she has nothing to worry about and invites her and Don to dinner. Don and Kelly arrive at Vic's house for dinner later that night. Vic then takes Don to a secret location and tells him not to tell anyone that he murdered Charlie. Don, on the other hand, believes Vic was involved in Charlie's murder. As a result, he asks Vic if he will pass a lie detector test to prove his innocence. Vic responds calmly, yes. When Vic looks out the window one day, he notices the car that has been following him for some time. He notices a camera and realizes he is being followed by a private investigator. Vic then notices Melinda and the private investigator having supper in a neighboring diner and joins them. Melinda introduces Vic to the man, introducing him as David, a psychotherapist. Basically, Vic recognizes himself as the private investigator hired by Melinda and Don. Vic rushes to Don's house and confronts him in front of Kelly and their daughter. Vic accuses him of hiring a private investigator, which Don denies. So Vic shows him Melinda's bank statement, which proves that she wired money to Don to hire David. Vic notices Melinda with a new buddy one day, Tony Cameron, Melinda's college boyfriend. Vic realizes how close the two are becoming, which makes him jealous. He tries to talk to Melinda about Tony, but she refuses to listen. Melinda invites Tony to dinner the following day. Vic is quite friendly with Tony, even when Melinda casually describes Tony as the first American with whom she has mated. Vic, on the other hand, is filled with wrath, which grows stronger when he observes Melinda and Tony flirting with each other. The next day, Vic approaches Tony in his Jeep and informs him that Melinda wishes to show him a construction site where she has been working. Vic then drives into the woods, where he can't get a signal. Vic throws a rocket at Tony's head. Vic tosses another rock at him, causing him to fall down the cliff and hit his head on a boulder, instantly killing him. Vic then drags Tony's body into the river, attempting to conceal it with pebbles. Vic takes Melinda and Trixie for a picnic in the woods one day while Trixie is playing. Melinda wonders why Vic is the only man who wants to be with her. Vic responds that he simply adores her for who she is and will never abandon her. Victim gifts or a photo album he made for her. They accept and embrace each other for who they are. Trixie then walks near the stream where Vic drowned Tony's body. Vic goes to rescue Trixie and discovers Tony's body floating on the surface. Melinda mentions leaving her scarf behind on her way home, so Vic tells her that he will return the next day. Later that night, Melinda requests that Vic sleep in her room since she does not want to be alone. Melinda confesses her affection for Vic. The two then kiss and embrace passionately. Vic rides his bike to the woods the next morning. Meanwhile, Melinda discovers Tony's wallet and knows Vic is responsible for Tony's death. Melinda is shocked by the news that Vic has killed all of her lovers, so she gathers her belongings and chooses to part ways with Vic for good. When Trixie discovers this, she throws the suitcase into the pool and informs Melinda that they will not be leaving. Soon after arriving at the river, Vic tries to sink Tony's body deeper. Just then, Don appears and approaches Vic. Vic tries to get rid of Don, but Don notices Tony's arm dangling in the air. He quickly returns to his car and drives away. Vic pursues him on his bike, using a shortcut to catch Don. He falls off his bike in front of Don's car just as he is about to catch up with him. Don swerves hard to avoid hitting him, but ends up driving his car down a hill and dying as a result of the incident. Vic gets back on his bike and rides home after verifying Don's death. He notices Melinda seated on the stairs, looking at him. This is the moment from the opening of the movie in which Vic rides his bike home. Melinda informs Vic that she discovered Tony's wallet, but she remains silent. Afterward, Tony's ID reads Melinda Burns, implying that she wishes to stay with Vic. So that's how our movie ends. See you in the next movie. We hope that you enjoy your time and have a good day.